Okay, so for the last 15, 20 minutes here of our class, I want to let you know that I am revising the syllabus for our last, 11 or 12 class sessions here. It's the same content, same material I was already planning to teach, but I've just reorganized it a little bit, and it's a little different than the syllabus that's shown that you have that you had to start the class. Okay, so I'm going to send you the revised syllabus, and so put it on Populi and all that. This is being recorded, of course. It's available. You can even go back and look at this recording yourself, but I'll get you this syllabus. So including today, we've got 12 sessions left, class meetings. The very last one, the 12th one, is the meeting during the finals week. Okay. And that at the very end, that week, there's not an exam, but that week when we'll meet at the appointed time, I haven't heard yet whether we're going to meet on the Tuesday, December 8th or Thursday, December 10th. It'll be either of one of those 2 days. We'll just have one class session that week, and you'll turn in your final paper, and we'll do a little class evaluation. You can think about, pass on your thoughts as to how we can improve the class, how we, and we'll celebrate together. And in past semesters, before COVID, we were always meeting together in class, right? We were together face to face, and we shared a meal. Everybody brought, something to contribute, and we would share a meal together just as a final time of fellowship together and celebration. And so I don't know exactly how we'll do that last class, whether we're going to be able to meet face to face or not. Maybe each of us will have, we'll all have an early morning cookie or in our homes or our offices or whatever, but it'll be an informal last class. You'll probably be tired because of all the work you're putting into getting ready for your other exams and getting papers turned in. So I just want you to know that we got these 12 sessions left, and that last class, we're not going to have a bunch of content. Okay. So on the screen, you can see that today, session 1 of this last part, I'm trying to introduce this last part of our class. I'm going to introduce the Bible study method shortly in just a few moments. You can see the fifth column, the one entitled Reading. That Hendricks book, Living by the Book. Those would be pages you could read to help get you ready for what we're going to be discussing in class. If you go down that column, you can see about the middle of the page, it says Kenneth Bailey's Poet and Peasant. You see that in the reading column? Can you guys see that? Thumbs up. Okay. That is a book which you do not have to buy. It's a great book, but I will get you a copy of the pages I want you to have from that book to help you when we get to that point in the class, okay? So I'll email you a scan of those pages or post them on Populi, so you've got that. The other, a little further down that column, about at week 10 and 11, session 10 and 11, I mean, it says, see Baxter Kruger's Parable of the Dancing God. You see that in the reading column? Okay. That is a small, very small little pamphlet, I would call it. And I will get you a copy of that too. All right. So I want you guys to know, as far as resources, you know, the only book at this point resource that you need is this Living by the Book. And we're going to be following the basic method, Bible study method that's outlined in that book. The other resources I will get to you, provide to you. Okay. Okay. On this revised syllabus on your screen, so the first column is our class session numbers. Next column are the dates of our class meetings. The third column is what I call method. So today's a little introduction, but what I want you to see is that our Bible study method is broken into 3 pieces, okay? The first piece, first step is observation of the text. We read it, we look at it, we observe things, and we'll be instructed on, you know, what are the sorts of things we're looking for as we read the text. The second part, observation, is about, you know, kind of the answering the question, what do you see? All right. Interpretation is the second part, and that's really, what does it mean? So that's what we're going to spend time learning about: Bible interpretation, how to get at and understand the meaning of the text, trying to understand what the author is, the message they, you know, who did they write the message to originally? Why? What was the situation and the context going on? What was going on in history, culturally? What sort of culture are they living in? Why did the author use the words the way he did? What is it from the culture that makes those words make sense in that culture then? Because the one who wrote these things down was in an actual historical situation, and they were writing for listeners in that day to hear. They weren't just writing for us to hear down the road, you know, 1,500, 2,000 years later. There was an actual historical, cultural situation going on. The Spirit of the Lord was inspiring them to write for the blessing of people then. So that interpretation part is, we're going to learn about how do we listen well for the message of the author, that God was, how was God speaking through that author to those people in that day, in their culture, in their situation, okay? Then the last part is described as application. I'm wary of this word. That's the word. It quite often Bible study is taught like, you know, okay, you understand the meaning of the text to the people back then, but then I learned the principle and now I go and I take and apply it to my life now. That's kind of the shorthand way that many people teach Bible study, and it's even described that way in this textbook. But what I want to say here, and I'll say it repeatedly, is this is not about us. Bible study is not about us reading scripture to get a bunch of principles that we pull out of scripture, and now we take those principles and we're going to go apply them to all these different situations. Yes, we're going to learn principles of God, ways of living that are right, that God is instructing us in. But God does not speak just impersonally. What we're Our posture is not, Lord, just give me a few marching orders so I can go off and do things. Our posture is not, Lord, just give me a few principles now, and I want to stay in charge of the rest of my life, and I'm going to go use these principles to live. You see, the problem with that is if we have that sort of attitude, we're not necessarily interested in God personally. We just want to get out of him a few principles that we can stay in charge of our life, right? And I'll go decide when I'm going to pull out these principles and apply them. And I'm just saying there's things to be wary of in this idea of application, that if we don't, there's going to be a real temptation that says, just try to get the principles out of the Bible, but don't have anything to do with God himself personally, right? I mean, wouldn't that be just something that Satan would want to tempt us to do? Is to carry around the 10 Commandments and have a relationship with stone, a bunch of rules on stone. Is that what we really need to live, is to have a relationship with laws, with rules on stone? Or does the Lord want us to have a living relationship with him personally, right? So we're going to call this observation, interpretation, application. Observation, what do you see? Interpretation, what does this mean for, what did this mean then? But then this application part, rather than, well, what are the principles you want me to learn? It's more like, Lord, what are you saying to me? What are you saying that you want to apply to my life? Lord, change my heart and my mind by your word. You're the one in charge. You're the one who can really do the changing. I cannot make myself love you more. If I'm going to love you, Lord, you're calling me to love you. If I'm going to love you, I need you to change my heart and to fill me with your love, right? So you get the difference I'm trying to point out? Okay. So those are the three parts of the Bible study method that we're going to spend time in over our next 11 sessions: observation, interpretation, application. Over on the far right column, there'll be assignments that are due, okay? So as you can see, next, on Thursday of this week, there is one reflection paper that's, from our previous part of our class having to do with reframe, right? It's what's my part in the story. So that's the last assignment associated with the reframe series, and you have till Thursday to get that done. Some people have already turned that in. Okay. All the assignments after that, so starting on November 3rd, which is next Tuesday, all of the remaining assignments have to do with this last part of our class on Bible method, exegesis, interpretation. All of them are going to be a part of helping us interpret Luke chapter 15. That's going to be our text that we're going to learn these methods and the tools, and we're going to put them into practice as we listen to Luke 15. Is that okay? So I call it exegesis paper 1, exegesis paper 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there will be 6 papers, and some of these are going to be short. They're not 3 or 4 pagers necessarily, okay? And each one of those exegesis assignments, you're going to be able, the stuff we're doing in class when we're together, you're going to be able to just take that work and that research and that what we're learning there and just write it up into your little exegesis paper assignments, okay? So it's going to be your way of kind of, each one of those papers is going to end up getting folded into the final paper, So you're kind of building your final paper over the next, 10 or 11 sessions. Does that make sense? All of the work we're going to do along the way is just like you're doing work that's just you're going to plop into your final paper. So it's not like you got to create a final paper out of nothing. You will have all of your building blocks for it just by doing these assignments, okay? Okay. All right, so where are we headed? Where we're headed is to go through the Bible study method over these coming classes together, and it's all going to culminate in your final paper. Okay, that's going to be where it all kind of comes together. And so I emailed to you the guidance for this final paper. And I just, so you've got it, and I'm going to see if I can pull it up here. For you. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that. Bear with me here. I thought I had this loaded up already, but apparently it didn't stay. There we are. Okay. Okay, do you see I'm on Populi now on the screen? Okay. You go to Files, Guidance for Papers and Assignments. Okay, Papers Guidance. Click on that. Luke 15, Exegesis Papers. I've got a folder there. Okay, and the one paper so far that I've got some guidance for is the final paper, and I just want to open that up for you. I emailed it to you. It's there for you on Populi, but I want to give you an idea of where we're headed. So I'm just going to kind of quickly read some of this. The aim of your final paper is for you to, 1, share the fruit of your study and research on Luke 15. 2, demonstrate your ability to understand, interpret, and communicate the author's meaning of the scripture passage. And then 3, to convey your reflection as you listen to this particular Luke 15 text. You learn these things. Now, what is God saying to you? There's an application reflection part, okay? So, if you see here, these are the 3 parts of the Bible study method we're going to go over. Observation, which is what do you see? Interpretation, what does it mean? And then application, what is the Lord saying to you personally in regards to what you know and how you're living? All right, so that's what's going to be our class, the rest of our class is going to be about, and then what you're going to put in the final paper. So now here is the outline for your final paper. All right. There's going to be an introduction section, paragraph A. Then you can see sections B, C, and D. Those are the 3 parts that we're going to be going over: observation, interpretation, application. And then there's going to be a concluding paragraph or section, okay? So there's the structure for your final paper. Now what I provide is for each one of those sections of your final paper, here's what I want you to cover in your introduction section A. What's the described purpose of the paper? What's the scripture passage that you're studying? What are the 3 main steps of Bible study method that you've learned? And how have you organized your paper? That's what I want you to put in the introduction section. Okay, make sense? Okay, the second section, B, on observation. Identify the author of the passage. So we're going to be in Luke. Guess who's the author? Luke, right? Tell what you've learned about him, who he is, why is he writing, what else has he written in Scripture. Then identify what's the passage. Where is the passage in the Bible, and what is the genre? Is this poetry? Is this gospel? Is it historical narrative? Is it wisdom? We're going to talk about all this. Then C, identify when, where, and to whom is that book written? Who did Luke write it to? Then we're going to have a little discussion on keywords, which we're going to go over in class. There's an assignment on keywords. There's an assignment on, we're going to diagram Luke 15 together visually, piece of paper. So that's what's in part B, observation. Then in part C of the paper, we'll talk about interpreting the text. And there's, what are the insights that you got from all of the research that we do? Part D is the application. You've been praying this text. What is God saying to you through it in your life? And then the last section of the paper is just the conclusion or summary. So that's the outline for the final paper. And I wanted you to have that now so you know where all of the next 10, 11 sessions are leading up to. And all the assignments are now going to have to do with building this paper for you. Okay? So I hope that puts you a little bit at ease. Yes, we have work to do, but all the work is going to be building on what's gone before, and it's going to get culminated in that final paper. Anybody have any questions? Okay. I need to end. I'm running over. Sorry about that. So we're going to go into observation. And on Thursday, we're going to discuss who's the author of this passage. What can we find out about him? Who is he? Why is he writing? What else has he written? Where is it located in the Bible? What's the biblical genre? Identify when, where, and to whom he wrote it. That's what we're going to focus on Thursday, okay? So if you have time and interest, feel free to do a little research and homework and bring it, and we'll discuss it on Thursday. If you don't have time, I'm going to have resources for us on Thursday that we're going to look at together, okay? Because I know you got other things to do. Last slide. So on Thursday, your last reframe paper is due, my part in the story. If you have a chance, you can do some reading and living by the book, pages 51 to 78. Again, there's no test on this, no exam, but it'll be helpful. And then there's a little note for our online only students. They need to watch today's, those of you online students only, watching today's video. I've got some questions on discussion posts like we've been doing all semester, and you need to have those turned in. So next Tuesday, if any of you did the optional extra credit assignment on 30-day Psalms journal, it needs to be turned in by then. There's 4 or 5 pages of reading to do. And then there'll be a short little exegesis paper that you'll turn in. And that paper, I will give you instructions on Thursday. You're going to just take what we discuss on Thursday and fold it into a short, simple little paper. I'll tell you everything you need to know on Thursday, okay? It's doable. It's not a big project, but it's a bite-sized piece. So that's it for today. Thanks for staying along. Sorry we ran over. If any of you have any questions, feel free to stay on after everybody else goes. I'd be happy to answer them. God bless you. And Lord willing, we'll see you on Thursday. Okay? Bye-bye.